British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Achille, and these are your top stories to 10:30. The investigation of a discovered grenade in Vancouver is still ongoing. Police detonated a bomb that was found buried in Olympic Village Sunday morning. Police issued a press release saying a woman found what she thought to be a suspicious-looking package while digging in her community garden. According to the release, the grenade appeared to be active. The amount of time the grenade had been sitting underground is unknown, but it was safely detonated by police and is no longer a risk to the public. The iconic red lions from a West Vancouver restaurant have not yet been found. The two bright red statues were allegedly stolen off the patio of Red Lion Bar and Grill on Saturday. Mario Corsi, the restaurant managing partner, asks anyone who may have the lions to return them, and no questions will be asked. Do you own an Android phone? Users in Canada who make a 911 call will now have their location sent to emergency responders. Boone Spooner, a product manager of Android, says this service will help responders locate the call faster.
Generally, what the call taker will see is a map with a blue dot, similar to what you would see on Google Maps, and that dot is the XY coordinates, the location of the user placing their phone call. A dispatcher can then determine, based on that blue dot or that location, the cross streets or the building that user is in.
A feature of this free service is identifying the caller's altitude. This means emergency responders will be able to estimate what floor the caller is on. The Canadian military is considering what type of crew they will need on warships. Drone technology and AI may steer the way for naval combat, according to Vice Admiral Angus Topshee. Ghost fleets is the informal term for unmanned and automated ships. According to Topshee, this is only the beginning of warships that won't need a crew. A new advisory committee is providing advice to the federal government as it looks to transform the role of the CBC. Mickey Jurich of the Canadian Press has this story.
7 multimedia experts have been selected, and their job is to advise Heritage Minister Pascale St-Onge as she renews the role of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Canadian Heritage says the group is going to provide policy advice, mainly around governance and funding for CBC and Radio-Canada. The department says consultations to renew CBC's mandate has already been done with Canadians and stakeholders, but now the newly appointed advisory committee will help the minister establish a path forward. St-Onge says the group will help her fulfill her mandate to modernize the public broadcaster. The federal government wants to redefine the role of CBC before the next federal election as the Liberals hedge against a possible change in government. Mickey Judich, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
Today marks the 4th week of the witness testimony in Donald Trump's hush money trial. Julie Walker of the Associated Press has the details.
Michael Cohen was once Donald Trump's lawyer and fixer. The jury in his hush money trial was shown payments Cohen gave to Stormy Daniels in 2016 for $130,000. Money prosecutors say was to stay quiet about a sex encounter which Daniels told the jury about last week, something Trump denies. Prosecutors say the crime was Trump paying that money back to Cohen. Entering court, Trump blasting the case.
This trial is rigged. It's dishonest. It's a disgrace to New York. It's a disgrace to the country. I should be out campaigning now.
Joining Trump in court, his son Eric, Senators J.D. Vance and Tommy Tuberville, along with Representative Nicole Malliotakis at criminal court in Manhattan. Julie Walker, New York.
If you're a George Clooney fan, well, there is a chance to see him in Broadway. Clooney will make his debut in a play adaptation of the movie Good Night and Good Luck. The play will premiere on Broadway in the spring of 2025 in New York. The Hollywood actor will be playing a TV journalist. Now let's take a look at the weather. Today will be cloudy with a high. Thank you for listening. I'm Lorna Chili.
This is sports on 1680 The Crow.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Sheridan with your sports update to 1040. Canucks defensemen Nikita Zadorov and Connor Soucy were involved in an incident after the final buzzer of last night's game. Soucy hit Connor McDavid and he retaliated by hitting Soucy's leg. Zadorov then cross-checked McDavid from behind. Zadorov is receiving a $5,000 fine, and Soucy is awaiting a hearing regarding his cross-check. The time and date is undetermined. The Canucks beat the Oilers 4-3 to take a 2-1 lead in the series. Rookie goalie Archer Shelovs stopped 42 shots for the Canucks, and they will take on the Oilers again tomorrow night in Edmonton for Game 4. Canucks coach Rick Tocchet says it was not an easy win for the team.
They made a push and, we did a nice job there at the end. Made most of our chances. Power play was good. PK did a great job in the third. Got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, that power play is as good as I've ever seen. Like, it's dynamite. So I give them a lot of credit. So, yeah, it was a grinding game. Like, we had to grind this win out.
The Vancouver Warriors head coach Kurt Malowski is a finalist for the NLL General Manager and Les Bartley Coach of the Year. Malowski is amongst 2 other coaches for the awards. 3 Warrior players are also finalists, including Owen Grant for Rookie of the Year, Ryan Dilks for Defensive Player of the Year, and Keegan Ball for the Sportsmanship Award. The BC Hockey League playoffs are well underway. The Surrey Eagles and Alberni Valley Bulldogs will face off tonight for Game 6 in Alberni. The Penticton Vees and Salmon Arm Silverbacks are tied 3-3 in the series. They will face off tomorrow night for Game 7 in Penticton. Team Canada Hockey won the gold medal for the Paralympic Games. They beat the U.S. after losing to them for 3 straight years. Canucks captain Tyler McGregor says the big win in Calgary was special as they reclaimed the gold after 7 years.
It's the first time that we've ever been able to win on home ice, and it hits different being able to sing your national anthem, especially with the road that we've been on the past number of years.
All eyes will be on 17-year-old swimmer Summer McIntosh at the Canadian Olympics and Paralympic swimming trials today in Toronto. McIntosh is the reigning world champion for the 200-meter butterfly and 400-meter medley. She is Canada's top medal hope for the upcoming Paris Games. Team Canada Women's Rugby beat Team Australia in the Pacific 4 Series. The win moved Canada up a spot in the rankings, and they now sit at number 3 in the World Rugby Rankings. The victory secured Canada a spot for the WXV1. The 2023 silver world medalist Sarah Mitten broke her own Canadian shot put record this weekend. Mitten passed her old record of 20.33 meters by throwing 20.68 meters. The toss is also the world-leading distance thrown this year. Toronto FC lost 3-2 to New York FC in a match that featured 7 yellow cards, 1 red card, and a post-game scrum. The Toronto captain, Jonathan Osorio, says the aggressive game stemmed from an incident with New York back in March.
When we hear that they corner the coach and 3 of the players corner a 19-year-old of ours by himself, that's when there's a problem. And I think that kind of carried over this game. Probably from their side as well, from everything that happened in over there in New York, and so we are just letting them know that we didn't forget about that.
The NBA lottery draft results are in, and the Atlanta Hawks are taking the top spot. Dave Ferry from the Associated Press has more on why the Hawks' win was unexpected.
Hawks GM Landry Fields called it a shock when his team received the number 1 selection, weeks after the franchise completed a 36-46 season and lost in the playoff round. The Wizards and Pistons had the best chances of landing the top spot at 14%. Washington has the 2nd pick, and Detroit drew the number 5 position. The Rockets own the 3rd choice, 1 spot ahead of the Spurs.
That's your sports update this morning. I'm Ryan Sheridan for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.